In this tutorial, we'll be taking a look at referencing an external HTML file. eFORMz users who use eDirect Plus, which is the HTML emailing add-on feature for eFORMz, are able to reference HTML files as templates for HTML output. So if you're sending an order confirmation and you have a really nice HTML template mock-up for it, you can use that with eFORMz. What will happen is you can use the headers and footers and the overall look and feel of the HTML file you've designed, while eFORMz will merge the dynamic content, the dynamic information, such as detail lines and order summaries that's generated with eFORMz. So how do we do this? Well, what happens is that you build the dynamic information in the composer using the document template, and the tables and paragraphs are given an ID, which we call a style ID, and you put that ID into the HTML template and it merges the information. So, how do we bring our HTML template file and the dynamic information in the composer together? Well, we'll right-click our form and select Properties and HTML Output. And the HTML Output tab will display. If you notice here, I already have an HTML file in here. All you have to do is select the Browse button and select the HTML file that you want and select Open, and there it is. So you have the HTML template file, and go ahead and select OK, and we have merged more or less the template file with what's in the composer. That is, we've established a connection. But how do we take information from the composer and put it into the template file? Well, to do that, we're going to need to add IDs to our document template components, our elements here. And we'll begin by right-clicking our paragraph component and selecting Edit and Style ID. And the Style ID tab will display. And here we're going to just basically give IDs that we're going to use in our template file in a moment. So I'll call this Greeting. That's easy enough to remember. And in this table, right-click that, select Edit and Style ID, and we'll call this Order Lines. And select OK. And to this table, right-click and Edit and select Style ID, and we'll call this Order Summary. So we have IDs for our document components. We've established the connection with the HTML template file. Let's go ahead and look at the HTML template file and add our IDs there so that when it's outputted in an HTML email, it will merge appropriately. Alright, so here is our sample HTML file. And if we scroll down here, you'll see we have a header and the menu, which is really a part of the header. And if we go below that, we have a div that is empty, and this is where we're going to put the IDs we declared in the composer. So obviously we began with a paragraph ID, which we called Greeting. So let's go ahead and put that in. And just a PID equals, and then we call it Greeting. And go ahead and close that out. And that would be how a paragraph ID declaration would look. And to do a table, it would be pretty similar. We would go table and then ID equals, and the first table that we had was order lines. So we'll go ahead and do that and close it out. And of course we can just copy this table because we had one more, and that table was called Order Summary. So we can go ahead and just edit that. And there you go. So if you have them in a certain order in the composer that you want them to go in, do follow that order in the HTML file, because the order you declare them is the order that they will occur in the HTML file. You can put things wherever you want in the composer. For example, even though I have this order, greeting, order lines, order summary in the composer, I could just as easily move order summary to the front here, and order summary would show first. So make sure that the order you want them in is declared appropriately in the HTML template file. What does the finished product look like? Well, here we go. We went back to the composer and sent an email from the eDirect Plus tab, and this is what the email looks like. And what we have is the image and menu. This is the header and total being produced by the HTML template, and we brought that template into the composer by the HTML output tab in the form properties. And below we have our paragraph called greeting that we use the greeting ID to generate, and we put that in our HTML template first. Then we had our order lines table. We brought that in next with the order lines ID. And then we had the order summary table with the order summary ID is what we gave it, and we also put that in our HTML template file. And so eFORMz is generating all of this. This is where the composer is generating all of that, and the HTML template generates this, and they are perfectly merged together. So that is a short explanation of how to use the external HTML file feature with eFORMz.